All right, we're back with our picks against the spread episode. I was talking to Jason. He was like, "I'm excited to see the picks show." Yeah, because he went 11-5 this week. The rest of us didn't fare as good. Chris with 9-7, Peter with 8-8, myself with 7-9. Terrible performance. I was so tilted on Christmas Day. Nothing I thought went the way it was gonna go. I guess Peter was kind of happy, all things considered. We completely missed on Denver. I always thought the book should take our money for the Denver one being so off and like take additional money. It was just so bad. But yeah, very interesting slate of games.
Definitely overthought on that Chargers Colts one. That's the one I should have had back for a winning record, but that's why we do it.
Yeah. Well, this week we start off Thursday night, Dallas at Tennessee. Dallas is a 10.5-point favorite. Yeah, I think after watching the amount of points they could put up against what is already a great defense in Philadelphia, I feel confident that Dallas should be able to put up points against Tennessee's defense, who has had some struggles recently, and be able to cover. So I'm going to confidently take Dallas. I think their defense will also be able to pick on Willis, and that's all they wrote.
Tannehill's out for the year. Tennessee gave Houston only their second win of the season. Willis isn't ready for the NFL. Dallas, easy.
Yeah, I was going to say that the spread is huge, but Tennessee looks so bad. Yeah, I don't know how you give up that game to Houston. Even Derrick Henry looked pretty pedestrian that game outside of it was that 148-yard touchdown. I think he only averaged under 4 yards a carry, I think. So, yeah, Dallas is rolling. I don't think Willis is going to be able to keep this game close. Next up, we've got Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 13.5. As much as I would like to see a great story for Jerry Rosburg winning his first game as head coach of the Broncos, KC.
I think the real question is, like, will he cover, though? And, like, I can almost paint myself the picture of Rosberg getting in there, retired coach. He retired in 2018. They had a whole press conference for him. Comes back to be the clock management fixer, and now is the, interim head coach of this crazy franchise with infighting on the sidelines. I don't know. I mean, I really want to say Denver can cover, but I just don't believe it. So I won't.
That franchise has more issues that can be fixed in a week. You got to give it to Kansas City here. All right, next up, the Philadelphia Eagles will be hosting the New Orleans Saints. Do we know the status of Jalen Hurts for this game? I'm not sure if we do.
I don't think we do.
The Saints went in and on the road beat the Browns in the frigid temperatures. Eagles, though, even with Minshew, offense did pretty well. Some turnovers certainly did not help them at the end there, but New Orleans is not Dallas. They are not to that caliber. 7-point spread. That's a tough one. You know what? Since I'm thinking it's tough, I'll give it to New Orleans to cover. But mainly, I think, again, what does Philadelphia have to play for at this point? But I think Minshew is perfectly capable of leading them to a victory.
I think we'll go Philadelphia. I think I saw enough from him last game against Dallas. I think he performed pretty well. New Orleans has been a very hot and cold team. So, I think Philly can stay ahead.
I'm going to go with Philadelphia as well. I saw enough. I watched that game, against Dallas, and I was like, yep, competent enough quarterback play out of Minshew. I think I just lost over Devonta Smith. I liked him a lot in the draft process, and it's so cool watching him play at such a high level. I just think they have the weapons there to keep it moving. And even though New Orleans surprised us against Cleveland, at least I was surprised. I got it wrong. I think Philadelphia can do it. Speaking of Cleveland, they're next up, visiting the Washington Commanders. Washington is a 2.5-point favorite. I went back and forth on this one a lot. I really don't know. I would not bet on this real life. I'm going to take Washington to cover and to win just because I think we are tainted in believing Cleveland's better than they are because of what happened when we played them recently. Every other piece of evidence before and after has suggested that they really don't have it going on yet. And therefore, yeah, I'm going with Washington, who has been streaky at best, but still has a lot to fight for.
Yeah, I really liked Washington before they've just imploded over the past 4 weeks, tying New York and then being unable to beat them at home off a bye. Now, of course, there was a questionable call there. Went to the West Coast, gave San Francisco a little bit of a scare, but then San Francisco pulled away big. I think at home they can get it done, although they do have a little bit of a quarterback question there. I don't know if we know who's starting.
I think it's Wentz.
I think I just talked myself into Cleveland.
See it.
Gosh, am I really going to say that Wentz is better than Watson?
I mean, you're not really saying that. It's still a team on a
other
team.
Players that play.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think I saw some metrics this week of just like this stretch of 4 games for Watson is like the worst, by far the worst stretch of games he's had in his entire career. Wentz has also played really bad this year, but I'll pick Washington. I think that they might pull out the win here. All right, next up, we got Jacksonville at Houston. Jacksonville's favored by 4.5 right now. I'm gonna pick them here. It would not surprise me whatsoever if Houston was able to back up their win last week with another win against Jacksonville. They imploded somehow, but I'm gonna say that this franchise is gonna turn it around. They're gonna win the last 2 games and they're gonna take control of the South. So I'll pick Jacksonville.
I'm also picking Jacksonville. Just I feel like they're a pretty good team. They have a path towards getting the division. Unfortunately, this game means nothing for them as far as seeding. So I can see that being like the interesting part here, and that Houston's able to cover a divisional game. It could be sneaky, but I'm going to go with Jacksonville just being too sound to let Houston do that.
I think Jacksonville is going to want to avenge their loss from earlier in the season. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne have arrived. They're both playing exactly as everyone was expecting coming out of college. They've been incredible. Give me Jacksonville against a Houston team that is fighting a lot more than a team that only has 2 wins on the year at this point generally would. But I think Jacksonville will be able to win this game. All right, coming up now, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Giants. I think Indy's done. I think that they're demoralized. If you are not able to challenge the Chargers at all at home, I've lost faith in you to be able to do anything because, as we've talked about many times before, I think the Chargers are complete and total pretenders who are somehow going to make this playoffs. Giants took the Vikings to overtime last we saw them. I'll take the Giants.
Well said. I'm not gonna add anything else. Giants.
I agree with everything but the slander towards the mirage of the Chargers. I get that they've underperformed. I don't know.
Oh, I could totally see that coming back to bite me. Watch that be the matchup that the Ravens have in the first week of the playoffs. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
The Chargers have lost me money this year, okay? I'm mad at them.
The truth comes out.
There it is. The truth comes out, yep. All right, well, I went with the Giants there. The next matchup is the Chicago Bears at Detroit. Detroit's a 6-point favorite. Oh, man. So last I checked, Fields lit them up when they played last. I don't know. 6 points feels like a lot for this matchup. I'm going to go with Chicago to cover.
The Detroit was on fire at home. Last we saw them there. I know that they had a pretty bad performance against Carolina this past week, but I think they'll light things back up at home. They still have an outside shot to make the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I could see them winning by 2 touchdowns.
I'm going to go Detroit as well. I feel like Chicago, like, both surprises you a little bit from Fields, but also, like, when you look at the results of some of these games, they're not as, like, the scores are not as close as it might seem. So even 6 points, it seems like a lot, but there are plenty of games that Chicago's lost by more than 6 points. Even this last week, I mean, they kept the Bills close in the first half. That was 35-17. The score was not close at all. So I'll pick Detroit. I think they can bounce back from that Carolina game. Speaking of Carolina, next up, you got Carolina at Tampa. Tampa favored by 3. This, I think, is one of the key matchups. I think if Tampa wins this one, I think they're on the road for the South if they haven't clinched it already. Carolina's playing really well, though. I'll be an agent of chaos. I'll say Carolina. I think that they could lean a little bit more on the run game, what they did against Detroit, and they put a wrench into the NFC South.
Carolina's fighting hard. I think they do still have control over their destiny. They can, if they win out, I think they do win the division, ? All I know is I've seen enough. I watched that darn Tampa Bay game, and I'm just like, I know this is exactly when TB12 is going to turn it on. I know this is exactly when, Evans and Godwin and I don't know. I was tilted hard in that game for fantasy purposes. A lot of things went wrong for me in one matchup that made me want to cry. Jason's already heard my sad story because it's in his league. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to go with Carolina because they're just playing really, really tough right now. They're playing inspired, and Tampa Bay's not. They're playing like, everything's broken around them. So I could just see them getting swept up in it and Carolina covering.
I want to pick push because I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Tampa Bay is going to win this by 3 on a last-second field goal, just like what happened in Arizona.
Yeah.
Last week was easy. The 7.5-point spread was ridiculous. Tampa Bay had not covered that since week 2. It was the easiest pick of the week, I felt, last week, just based off of that. I don't care who was quarterbacking for Arizona. They were playing Tampa Bay on the West Coast. But, Carolina, they could win. Absolutely. Carolina's been playing really well. I just think that they haven't been playing as good a defense as Tampa has been. Similar to Denver, the issue has been much more the offense than the defense, and I think that'll be enough to keep this one close. All right, next up is an interesting one. The Miami Dolphins, who have not been traveling very well, are on a 4-game loss streak, traveling up to New England. New England is a 2.5-point favorite. It's crazy. We don't even know if Tua's going to play in this game. He's back in the concussion protocol. I think you got to go New England. I don't like this game on the road for Miami. New England hasn't been great, but they haven't been awful either. I think that New England is going to win this game.
Yeah, I do think that's going to be the X factor here. Miami, they're such a streaky team. It was like September they won almost all their games. October lost them all. November won them all. And then December football, it's just been awful. I think they've been 0-4 the last couple of weeks. If Tua doesn't play, I think that's a huge issue for Miami. I'll go New England.
Miami, regardless of quarterback, definitely going to take the points here. Feel pretty decent about it. I know they're really streaky. I think this is they can flip it, and they can get the win or at least cover. I could, if it was 3 points, I'd be even more emphatically for Miami. But the 2.5 makes it a little scary. But we'll see. I think Miami can win it. Arizona at Atlanta. Atlanta's a 4-point favorite. This somewhat surprised me. It's like when 2 bad teams play each other, take the points. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't love it. I do think Arizona might have something to play for Watt. So yeah, Arizona.
Watt retirement party, Arizona.
As much as I like that, I'll go Atlanta. Arizona, I don't know. Colt McCoy might be back, but even then, I don't know if it's enough. I'll go Atlanta. All right, San Francisco at Vegas. San Fran favored by 6. San Fran, I don't know why I picked against you last week. San Fran, they're rolling, man. They're the only team in the league, make everybody jealous that they're on their third quarterback and they still look amazing.
I know. Yeah, Vegas, I just like shake my head. I was like, there's no way that San Francisco doesn't cover this. I feel really good about it. Like, San Francisco, done.
Niners. Next up, Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. The Jets are favored by 2 points, which I thought was surprising, but then I remembered how Seattle has actually fallen quite back down to earth as of late. That being said, Jets are... Wilson is benched again, right?
Yep.
Is Mike White back? Is it Flacco? Is it whoever the heck they threw in?
It should be White and Flacco.
I'm going to say Seattle just because of the travel. But I could certainly see the Jets winning this one too. That's a toss-up.
I'm going to go Jets here. I believe in White, and if he gets hurt again, I believe in Flacco. Geno's not been playing well the last couple of weeks, so Jets for me.
Yep, Seattle seems found out. I do worry about the travel. A lot of things that you guys have already brought up. But I'm going to go with the Jets here to try to make a stand. Minnesota at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 3-point favorite. Oh, how spicy is this one? Minnesota, we all picked against last week. We were correct. It played out as expected. Green Bay, we all picked against. They won. Green Bay is a really weird team. I want to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to find a way to win this darn ball game, and I think they'll do it by more than 3. But I'm going to take Minnesota in the points.
It's funny. Alec was saying we all picked against Minnesota last week, and that we all picked against Green Bay last week. Well, apparently, we all meant him, Chris, and Jason, because I wrongly picked Minnesota last week and lost that one, but I did correctly pick Green Bay.
All right.
I'm telling you, you know what? Somehow the Packers have figured out how to stay afloat here. The Vikings, I think that they have turned into what the Packers were at the beginning of the year. They're just not able to hold leads. They're figuring out ways to play down the competition. And the Packers, they figured some things out. Good for them. Their defense looked very good against the Dolphins. That was a big win going down to Miami. And I think Green Bay, they're streaking, man. I think they've got something. They might make some playoff noise. Who knows?
I hear what you're saying, but Justin Jefferson and is playing so well right now. I feel like their offense can like turn on at any minute. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a push, but I feel like I'm going to pick Minnesota. I think that they're going to find a way to get the win in this game. Probably win by more than 3. But next up, you've got the Rams. Oh, the battle of the LA teams. So I guess both are home? Or both are away. I don't know. Rams at Chargers. Chargers favored by 6.5. Peter, I think I know what maybe you're gonna pick. I think I'm gonna side with you. I'm gonna go with the Rams just because, like, I don't know. I think let me give me some Mayfield and Akers again. Let's put this greatest show on turf back.
I can't do it. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I know why. I can get it, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
You know, the Rams are fighting for something. I don't quite understand it, but they seem to be fighting here. And look, I understand their season's over. This matchup means something, you know, for both these franchises to try and grab the fickle heart that is this LA city. I think the Rams win this one to reestablish themselves and remind LA, hey, like, we're the team that won the Super Bowl last year. Like, we sucked this year, but just remember who won the Super Bowl last year. And then they'll fade back into obscurity because they have no draft picks. But anyways, it'll be their last stand. All right, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Well, we know how this is going to go. Looks like Baltimore is a 3-point favorite. I said they would win by 4, so I'm taking Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, I guess I said they win by 2. Same scores last time, so Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore here. You can hear more about that in our preview show. And then last but not least, Buffalo at Cincinnati. Buffalo, 1.5-point favorites. So you're basically picking the winner. At Cincinnati, very interesting. Buffalo having, I don't know if they're all there right now, but I also predicted that Cincinnati is having some issues too. I'm going to go with Buffalo to cover, partially so the Ravens' dream can be alive no matter what they do, but also because I just think that they're the better team, and they're going to figure out a way to win it.
I'm curious what these issues are that Alec is seeing with Cincinnati. I understand they're a division rival, but my gosh, this team is on an 8-game win streak. They have won 11 of their past 12. Their one loss was a bizarre 32-13 beatdown against Cleveland on Halloween night. I still don't know what happened there. I do not like to say it. I don't think there's any team. I know that Cincinnati is playing better football than anyone else in the NFL right now, and it gives me no pleasure to say that. I want Buffalo to win. I think Cincinnati is going to do it.
I think the thing with Cincinnati is when they're on, they can take on any team and compete at a high level. But I do think that they kind of go through some slumps sometimes. They were up 22-0 against New England, and then they came back. They had to force a fumble to be able to win that game at the last minute. So Buffalo is a much higher level of competition, I think. So a couple of those mistakes, I think Buffalo can make them pay. So I'll pick Buffalo.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this game, guys.
Man, I just want to say, man, like those are some purple lenses analysis here of a team that you're being picky here. I'm just going to say that you guys are being super picky over a team that is red hot.
I'm going to say, I think losing your tackle is a big deal, dude. Like, that's all.
I don't know if I buy that as much, but I do think Buffalo will still find a way to win. Buffalo also has won a bunch of teams. I don't know if it's the same win streak. It probably is not, but I do think it'll be a good matchup for them.
All right.
We shall see what happens.
I'm looking forward to our Cincinnati preview show next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, make sure to leave your picks in the comments. We appreciate you guys sticking with us through the picks against the spread. And, we'll see you next week.